Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 1st, verse number 4. न ह्यल्पार्थोदयस्त्स्य Vidurasya tasmin variyasi prashnaha sadhu vadopabramhitaha nahyal parthodayastasya vidurasya tasmin variyasi prashnaha sadhu vadopabramhitaha nahyal parthodayastasya vidurasya tasmin variyasi prashnaha sadhu vadopabramhitaha nayal parthodayastasya vidurasya malatmanaha tasmin variyasi prashnaha sadhu vadopabramhitaha nayal parthodayastasya vidurasya malatmanaha tasmin variyasi prashnaha sadhu vadopabramhitaha nahyal parthodayastasya vidurasya malatmanaha tasmin variyasi prashnaha sadhu vadopabramhitaha. Matajis, anybody? Nayal parthodayastasya vidurasya malatmanaha tasmin variyasi prashnaha sadhu vadopabramhitaha. No, never, he, certainly, alpa artha, small purpose, udayaha, raised, tasya, his, vidurasya, of Vidura, amala atmanaha, of the saintly man, tasmin, in that, variyasi, highly purposeful, prashnaha, question, sadhuvada, things approved by saints and sages, upabramhitaha, full with. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Saint Vidura was a great and pure devotee of the Lord, and therefore his question to His Grace Rishi Maitreya must have been very purposeful on the highest level and approved by learned circles. Purport. Questions and answers among different classes of men have different value. Inquiries by mercantile men in a business exchange cannot be expected to be highly purposeful in spiritual values. Questions and answers by different classes of men can be guessed by the caliber of the persons concerned. In Bhagavad Gita, the discussion was between Lord Shri Krishna and Arjuna, the Supreme Person and the Supreme Devotee respectively. The Lord admitted Arjuna to be his devotee and friend, Bhagavad Gita 4.3. And therefore, any sane man can guess that the discussion was on the topic of Bhakti Yoga system. Actually, the whole Bhagavad Gita is based on the principle of Bhakti Yoga. There is a difference between karma and karma yoga. Karma is regulation, karma is regulated action for the enjoyment of the fruit by the performer. But karma yoga is action performed by the devotee for the satisfaction of the Lord. Karma yoga is based on bhakti or pleasing the Lord, whereas karma is based on pleasing the senses of the performer himself. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, one is advised to approach a bona fide spiritual master when one is actually inclined to question from an elevated level of spiritual understanding. A common man who has no interest in spiritual values has no need to approach a spiritual master just as a matter of following fashion. As a student, Maharaj Parikshit was serious about learning the science of God, and Shukadeva Goswami was a bona fide spiritual master in the transcendental science. Both of them knew that the topics discussed by Vidura and Rishi Maitreya were elevated, and thus Maharaj Parikshit was very interested in learning from the bona fide spiritual master. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, wish to offer my humble obeisances at the feet of everyone who is assembled, all my respected God brothers and great spiritual personalities who may be hearing this online. Hare Krishna. So, a very wonderful purport. Many times people ask questions that why is it that Swami Prabhupada refers to everything in Bhagavad Gita in terms of Bhakti Yoga? And Prabhupada has taken here in this purport, we can see, he has taken a clue from a very apparent simplistic conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva Goswami. And he has taken the clue from there and he has established this fact that how Bhakti Yoga is, this is what Bhakti Yoga, and this is what everyone is talking about, actually Bhakti Yoga. So you can understand. So the way Prabhupada does is like this. So Prabhupada is saying that the discussion is happening between Arjun and Lord Krishna. So on what different topics can it happen? Prabhupada addresses here Arjun as supreme devotee and Lord Krishna as supreme personality of Godhead. Now let's take a parallel and take an example of person like Lord Ramachandra and Hanumanji. Is there any doubt that Hanumanji is a devotee of Lord Ramachandra? There is no doubt, right? In the Hanuman Chalisa, it says, Rama duare tuma rakhware, hotana agya binu paisare. So unless Hanumanji agrees, you cannot pass the door which leads to Lord Ramchandra. Right? That's what this sloka means. So there is no question that Hanumanji is a great devotee. Now there is this wonderful photograph you will see in Ramayana where Hanumanji is there, Lakshmanji is there, Sugriv, and Ramchandra is showing a hand like this. You have seen that photograph? So anyone sees that photograph and then makes a question that what Ram and Hanuman are talking about. So somebody will say, Ram is talking about the financial crisis which is going to happen in Sri Lanka in 2024 or after COVID. No, he's pointing towards Sri Lanka, that is for sure. But they're talking about devotional service, right? They're talking about how to construct a bridge. They're talking about bhakti. Krishna may think like that in his mind also about Sri Lanka, and he may be feeling very compassionate about it. But what he's talking there is how to perform bhakti. And in bhakti, which is that Bruhat Bhagavatamrita, right? In that scripture we know that when Hanumanji was glorified as one of the greatest devotee by Srila Narad Muni himself, Hanumanji said, no, I am not really a great devotee. Pandavas are even better. So Arjuna is a better devotee than Hanumanji says that he is better. So if the conversation between Ram and Hanumanji can only be devotional service, how the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna can be anything else? So Prabhupada is drawing that point. So Prabhupada is saying that based on the people who are involved, you can understand what is the conversation about. If two small children are talking about each other, what will you understand? They will be mostly talking about play. If two drunkards are sitting, what they will be talking about? Again something like that. But if Supreme Personality of Godhead and Arjuna is sitting there, the discussion has to be about bhakti. Cannot be about anything else. And therefore Srila Prabhupada again and again mentions it. So there is no need to get confused in this topic that maybe Prabhupada is giving his own version of Bhagavad Gita. No. Because Krishna and Arjuna are involved, it has to be bhakti. Prabhupada is bringing that point very clear. Second point Prabhupada is saying is very interesting. So Prabhupada is talking here, just give me a minute, I need to refer, sorry. Yeah. So the second thing which Prabhupada is mentioning here is difference between Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. And the way Prabhupada is going about it, let's try to follow the way he says. Okay. So Prabhupada first says, there is a difference between Karma and Karma Yoga. Okay. Because this is a question which many people have. People, you go outside, you talk to people, speak about Bhagavad Gita. Now what is the difference between Karma and Karma Yoga? Then often people have complete confusion about it. So first thing Prabhupada is saying, there is a difference between Karma and Karma Yoga. He says Karma is regulated action for the enjoyment of the fruit by the performer. Okay, very simple. It's a regulated action. So it's not an unregulated action, but it is for the purpose of the enjoyment by the performer who is performing the action. Then he says, but Karma Yoga is action performed by the devotee for satisfaction of Lord Krishna. Then Prabhupada takes you one more level deeper. Then he says, Karma Yoga is based on bhakti or pleasing the Lord, whereas Karma is based on pleasing the senses of the performer himself. Right? So generally, you will see whenever a great person is giving a presentation, they will typically present 3 points. You will see this. I would encourage you to see some professional seminars given by Steve Jobs or people like that. They speak on 3 points. 1, 2, 3. Like we also say Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama. So the 3 has some importance. So whenever you 1, 2, 3. So Prabhupada has spoken 2 points. A third point is about to speak. Now when you read the sentence, it looks like Prabhupada has completely changed the gear. He has talked about a completely separate topic. What is the third thing Prabhupada says? According to Srimad Bhagavatam, one is advised to approach bona fide spiritual master when one is actually inclined to the question from an elevated level of spiritual understanding. You say suddenly, what is this? So, Karma Yoga, I was expecting Prabhupada will give a third point, and he's suddenly talking about one is advised to listen from spiritual master. It's an apparent stuff, but actually if you see, this is the third point. So the first point is that karma is meant for the enjoyment of the performer, whereas bhakti is meant for enjoyment of Krishna. Second point, further more detail, karma is where one satisfies his own senses, bhakti is where one satisfies Krishna's senses. Third point, karma is where you want to listen from so many different people and understand what is good for you. Karma yoga is when you want to approach a spiritual master and understand how to satisfy senses of Krishna. Because otherwise, how will you understand? How to satisfy? I can just make a statement like this. Karma yoga means to satisfy senses of Krishna. But how do you know? Generally, what people you will see happening in this world is that whatever satisfies one's own senses is generally superimposed on top of Krishna, that it is satisfying Krishna also. Right? So, what suits me? What suits me to go out and kill people? So, I will superimpose it on the top of God, that God has asked me to go out and kill people. What suits me? To eat pizza, maybe. So, I will superimpose it on God that the best dish that Krishna likes is pizza. Or it can go anyway like that. Somebody may want to, traditionally Krishna always has a flute. Somebody may want to put some guitar because that person likes guitar. So it's basically whatever you like, you will like to superimpose. But whom can you understand from? What actually Krishna likes is only from the spiritual master. Why is it so that one can understand what Krishna likes only from the spiritual master? Why is it so? What is the difference? But even before that, there is another point which can be addressed. Let's go ahead in this same discussion. So why is it that one likes to, one can understand from spiritual master what can satisfy the senses of Krishna? The simple reason is that because the spiritual master had heard from his spiritual master. And then they have heard from their spiritual master. And because it is coming in the parampara, so spiritual master understands what will please senses of Krishna. But even more than that, what really will make the difference in a person's life, that whether one is satisfying the senses of Krishna or not, is that one can experience drastic transformation once you start following the instructions that the spiritual master has given you. And that transformation is something which is very, very, very crucial. And everyone who comes to Krishna consciousness and follows that particular process experiences the transformation. And that transformation itself is the witness, is the proof that the process is working. I remember one time there was, Gaurang Prabhu was giving a class and somebody challenged this question. He says, Gaurang Prabhu, I have been attending your classes for last 10 years. And he said that, I have been following this process of Krishna consciousness for last 10 years. But I am not experiencing any transformation. When I sit for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I don't experience ecstasy. I don't experience anything very special and drastic. So he asked a very simple question. He said, 10 years back, were you addicted to drinking tea and coffee? He said, yes. He said, are you now? He said, no, now I don't. Isn't that sufficient transformation? Try any other person, any other person who, Prabhuji is from South India, he knows coffee, how much, right? It's called kapi there, right? So, ask any South Indian that after a particular practice, whichever practice that he chooses, and 10-15 years he is able to give up coffee. Not possible, right? But people are able to do it, right? you may see that there may be some other addiction that a person has, some weird addiction. And the person says that I will never be able to do it. I will never be able to give up this. And the person just automatically gives it up without even understanding that something like this has happened. And this is life. You can ask many devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness, they will agree. Yes, it's working. Why? Because it's as per the spiritual master's instruction. Krishna is getting satisfied. So when Krishna is satisfied, what happens? Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam. The whole world becomes satisfied. And therefore, one is easily able to come out. So that is one very easy proof. There is something more that is being talked about, in this verse. These topics of discussion. Now here, Parikshit Maharaj is saying that I am very eager to hear this particular discussion, which is happening between Maitreya Muni and Vidura. The first point that is mentioned here is Vidura is Amalatmana. That means he is very pure-hearted. And Parikshit Maharaj and Maitreya Rishi is Variyase. He is a very great soul, right? So great soul is speaking. A pure-hearted person is asking the questions. Why should somebody become very eager to accept or go and understand this particular discussion? What is the reason, right? One very easy reason is that generally spiritual topics are best understood when they are conducted in form of question answers. And you will see most of our scriptures are in the form of question answers. So first, Arjuna asks questions, Lord Krishna answers. In case of Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj asks questions, Shukadev Goswami answers. In case of Mahabharat, Janmejay asks questions, Vaishampayan Rishi answers. So always question answers that go on. So in question and form of question, and even in case of Srila Prabhupada, those of you who have read Prabhupada books, there's a book called as Perfect Question, Perfect Answer. And many times for the people who have come to Krishna consciousness, that is the book which is offered, that you read this book first. Because there are questions and answers. So because most of the questions are the questions that you also have, right? Just like in the outside world, there is something called as FAQ, frequently asked questions, when any new product is launched. So because through question answers, you actually understand the topic better. So it's the same principle applied here also. Sometimes I get this thought in my mind that why is it that the books that we have in school are not in the form of questions and answers? Why is there a single narrative? Like so many people, I have asked, like many students are sitting here, right? And in college, very invariably, if you just ask a simple question in a school, that which is the topic that you hate the most? Like, which is the topic that you hate the most? Economics. Not history? Oh, good. For me, history was the topic which I hated the most, right? Because it's so boring. It's just narrative, right? One single person is narrating, and how much? Ultimately, you will fall asleep. So nobody likes it. Or economics, for instance, because just going on, and you fall asleep, right? But imagine if it is in the form of questions and answers. You know, somebody asks a question, very burning question, that I am not able to save any money. I am having problem. Whenever I get my salary, the all money is spent. What should I do? What can I do? Then somebody says, okay, put in this and this product, and that money will grow. You say, how can money grow? Is it some sort of a seed that you put the seed in the sand and it starts growing? In Marathi we say na ke paise ka jhadal lagtat ka. We say like that. And you are saying money will grow. So question is asked. The person, no. Then the process of compounding. Acha, compounding. What is compounding? And then you further explain compounding. Okay, this is how the compounding works. Okay, then this. And if the question answer there, then economics will not become boring. Because there is question answers. And I don't know who can communicate this to the, the people who write books for schools and for, the CBSE board or whichever ICSE board. We should tell them, please put in question answers. People will understand the topic much better, right? It's very important. any topic in the form of, even if you take a story book like Panchatantra, you will see a story starts. And then somebody makes a question, somebody makes a remark that, this is how it's going to happen. And the other person says, how is it like that? Then another story starts. Then again, how is it like that? Another story starts. And then, you will read the whole book and you will not realize that I have finished the entire syllabus of economics. Because it's just wonderful questions and answers, right? See, it's like if you want to enjoy food, you have to be hungry. Otherwise, you cannot enjoy, even if it is the most delicious food. So yes, the topic which is presented in front of you may be the most relevant topic, but if you don't have hunger for the topic, you are not going to enjoy it. The questions, they increase the hunger first. When you read the question, you get hungry. Arey haan yaar, what will be the answer for this? Let me find out. There is a curiosity in the mind. It is natural, right? So always, even if you read the commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur he puts it in question and answer. So he creates questions, then he answers those questions. He creates another question, answers those questions. So as you are reading it, you just enjoy. And you cannot understand that, I have finished reading the entire book. Right? Because there are wonderful questions and answers. So therefore now here Parikshit Maharaj is saying that I am very eager to hear. What are the questions and answers that have happened between them? Right? The second thing is, but why you should be so eager to hear about something which has happened between Parikshit Maharaj, which has happened between Maitreya Rishi and Vidura. You can say that one is pure-hearted person. So this is what I actually took from Balaram Shakti Prabhu's class on this topic. It is there on YouTube, you can go and hear it. And he brings out a very important verse from this shloka, which gives the meaning of why this particular question answer session, Parikshit Maharaj is so eager to hear. Why is it like this? Right? And the exact word which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, and Prabhuji explained in his class, is this word Sadhu Vado Upabrahmhitah. So there are many meanings of this verse. Right? One very simple meaning which Prabhupada has given here, that this question and answer is approved by many sadhus. So, that we can understand. It is approved by many sadhus, so it's very interesting. There's one very second important point. The second important meaning of this, Upabrahmhitah. He says, Upabrahmhitah means something which is blessed and nourished. Something which has been blessed and pleased. So then this example is given. So example is like that you may be attending some lecture somewhere, right? And the entire lecture gets over. And then one person raises hand, right? And he asks one question. And when that question is asked, everyone who may be even sleeping in the class, they immediately awaken. They say, wow, what a question. But the question is so relevant. Even I had the same question. And so many years this question was in my mind, nobody answered it. And now that question somebody has asked, right? So immediately everyone awakens. And if the question, and if the speaker who is really wanting to answer the question, he's really, he has that connection with Krishna somehow through his sadhana, through his or her sadhana. And with that prayer, when the person starts answering the question, then everyone becomes very happy, right? And then as soon as the lecture is over, people go to that person and say, thank you so much, yaar. You asked this question. I'm so happy that because you asked, now my doubts are clear, right? The question answer is provided by the speaker, but most of the time the credit goes to the person who asked the question, correct? And what has happened with that person now at that point? What has happened with that person is that he has just got a place in heart of Lord Krishna. Why? Because there are so many people who have become pleased with that person and satisfied with that person, right? So whenever there is a blessing by a Vaishnava, so here it is mentioned Sadhu Vadopa Brahmhitah. Means what? The sadhus have approved it. The sadhus have blessed it, right? When somebody is blessed by sadhus, that person gets a place in the heart of Lord Krishna, right? And because of that blessing, that person's bhakti is nourished. Because of that blessing, everyone's bhakti is nourished. And therefore, one is eager to understand it. This is what Vishwanath Thakur mentions. That Parikshit Maharaj is eager to understand because he knows by the questions of Vidura and Maitreya, the sadhus were very blessed. Sadhus were very pleased. And they blessed. And any person who has blessed, right, that person has found a place in the heart of Lord Krishna. And now, because that's why now I want to hear what is the question answer that is going on. Right? And somebody who is blessed by a devotee, to what extent that person can become famous? Right? There is one very obvious example. Right? And yesterday only we celebrated a very beautiful festival. Anyone knows what was that festival? Sharad Purnima, right? Those who come from the Marathi background, it is also called as Kojagiri Purnima. So it's a very famous festival, right? So as soon as you hear about this festival, Sharad Purnima, Kojagiri Purnima, what comes in front of your mind? Moon, right? The moon is so much glorified. When the Ras Leela is taking place between Lord Krishna, it is mentioned many demigods came and witnessed the Ras Leela. But among all the demigods, one who is recognized as an official witness is the moon god. There is also another festival that comes during Diwali. It is called as Kadwa Chauth. You have heard of this festival? Right. Who is the person who is most glorified in Kadwa Chauth? Moon. Again. Okay. Two festivals coming in the month of Kartik, dedicated to one specific demigod. Now let's try to analyze the life of this personality. It is mentioned that there are three stories. And when you hear these three stories, you feel that, what is this person doing all about? So one story says that once it so happened, now just imagine the life. Moon has 27 wives, right? There are the 27 nakshatras. He has 27 wives. But he doesn't have a single child. Yeah, we don't know what is the reason. He doesn't have a child. There are 27 wives. And despite having 27 wives, which are very beautiful, one fine day he gets attracted towards the wife of Brihaspati. Right? Tara. This is mentioned. And he becomes so irresistibly attracted, he takes the form of Brihaspati, goes and has a relation. From that a child is born. And when all the demigods come to know that, my God, what kind of activity this person did. Now Brihaspati is his own spiritual master. He goes and does something like this horrible. Right? Do you feel that all demigods are going to be happy about he performing such an activity? No. Right? So he was like blasphemed, he was being, ridiculed by everybody. Right? This is one person. Do you feel somebody who has a character like that, 27 wives, and then finally lands up with some other woman? That person is worshipped on Kadwa Chauth, which is supposed to be for a chaste woman. Is it possible? Not possible. Then another story. He happened to laugh at Lord Ganesh because Ganesh had probably a different shape of the body or something like this. So Ganeshji cursed him. Anyone who sees you on my particular day will get a particular blame, that he will always be, always get a false blame in his life. Such a person would you like to worship all the time? No. And the third curse that came, because he had 27 wives, but he always liked one particular wife very much. That is Rohini. That is his favorite wife. Right? So because he liked only one particular, so he was neglectful. He was not attentive to what is required. So all the wives, they went and complained to their father. They all were daughters of the same person, Prajapati Daksha. So they went to Prajapati Daksha and said that, he's just partial to one lady and he's not associating with all of us. So Prajapati Daksha cursed him. Right? So three curses this person is having. Very, very serious offenses done in life. But still, he is the Lord of Sharad Purnima. He is the Lord of Kojagiri Purnima. He is the Lord of Kadwa Chauth. Why? Because when he was cursed like this, he went to a place called Somnath and he worshipped Lord Shiva, who is a great Vaishnava. Right? A great Vaishnava. As soon as you please a great Vaishnava by your austerity, you get a place in the heart of Lord Krishna. And your fame, your character, and everything is restored back to its normal. This is an excellent example. Right? Immediately everything restored back. Right? Now he is worshipped. So many places, so many. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared on Gaur Purnima. Balramji appears on a Purnima. Everyone is glorifying him. Right? He gets so much of benefits. Krishna decided to appear in his own Vamsha as a Yadu Vamsha. What can be greater than that? Right? But person having very, very bad up and downs character, but taken shelter of a great Vaishnava. Therefore, when we take initiation, there is one verse which is chanted. What is that? Om apavitra pavitrova sarvavastham gatopiva yasmaret pundarikaksham sabayabhyantara shuchi. Right? So, any one of us who might have gone through this particular phase in our life, we might have felt irresistibly attracted towards a particular person of opposite sex. We might have laughed at a great soul and got curses from that person. We might have got curses from our own family members because we did not take care of them properly and we were not attentive in serving them. But the hope is taking shelter of a person like spiritual master. As soon as one takes shelter, Om apavitra pavitrova sarvavastham gatopiva. Everything is restored back. Everything is restored back for that person. This is to the extent it is important to take shelter of Krishna and to have a place in the heart of Lord Krishna. Right? And once a person finds place in the heart of Lord Krishna, then that transformation starts happening, which we were talking about. Because now Krishna has taken control of your chariot. He has now gone and sat inside. Right? And most of the people, most of the people are very scared of this transformation. So they don't approach a bona fide spiritual master. Right? They want to approach somebody else who will give some cheap benefit, some cheap ashirvad or something like that. It's fine. But somebody who is very serious, therefore Prabhupada says here, right? Tad vidnyanartham sa gurum eva bhigacchit. Prabhupada puts a translation here. That one who is serious about spiritual life, he approaches a spiritual master and he is willing to hear about the message which is coming from this personality. That shows the person is very serious. Right? So this is the difference. Person who is serious will go to a spiritual master and whatever phase of life the person may have gone through, he becomes very satisfied and his fame is restored, his character is also restored. And that is the power of a great Vaishnava. That is the power of a pure devotee. And the last thing which I wanted to mention was, No, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Another thing which I wanted to just highlight here is this Vidura is a very, very special personality. And if you see Mahabharata, there are three different ways in which dharma actually appears in Mahabharata. One, dharma is Yamraj. So one incarnation is Vidura himself. One incarnation is Yudhishthir Maharaj. And there's another one which came when the question answer was happening at that lake, when the Pandavas were in the forest, and then a bird appeared and started asking questions. Right? Three different ways. And what Bhishma Pitama says in Srimad Bhagavatam is very nice. Bhishma Pitama says, he says that aho dainyam aho kashtam yad yuyam dharmanandana. And then he concludes the verse saying, Vipra dharma achyutashraya. Right? So you see that the various calamities that Pandavas passed through, any person who would have passed through those calamities, they wouldn't have survived. I think in some 1 or 2 classes back, I gave the example that how once one takes shelter of spiritual master, he becomes very fortunate, right? So similarly, one takes shelter of dharma, he also becomes very fortunate, right? And you see the example of Arjuna, and example of Pandavas, and example of Karna. You see, in the life of Pandavas, they were put in Lakshagruha, right? They were put in the house of lac. What are the odds that if you are put in a house of lac and the entire house is set on fire, you will get rescued from that? What are the odds? There's no chance. Means people, nowadays we see people are sleeping at home and some short circuit happens. And it's a cement house, right? And still people die. Can you imagine a house which is made up of fuel itself? And it is specifically set on fire. What is the chance that they will survive from it? No, but they survived. What is the chance that if somebody gives you a cake which is full of poison and you eat that cake? That's what happened to Bhima. What are the odds that the person will survive? Hardly any chance, right? But they survived. And in case of Karna, we see, actually what happened to him on the battle of Kurukshetra? His wheel got stuck in the soil, right? Just wheel got stuck in the soil. Is it something very big? Generally, when these people go for fighting, they have extra chariots. Or sometimes there is some other fighter who is fighting close by. They ask the person to come down and they go on that chariot and take it, right? But at that point in time, this idea did not even come to his mind that there's so many options possible, right? Because if you are not pleased a great soul, you will not get proper ideas to solve the problems in your life. And here, because they are taken shelter of Vidura all the time, they are taking shelter of great devotees, from all problems they are getting free, right? That same Vidura now is going to ask questions here. Very, very, very special questions, right? So if we all take now shelter of the answers which are given here by Maitreya Muni, that will actually be the greatest fortune for us, and that will actually solve us from the greatest dangers of life. So that's where this chapter is now starting, and it goes ahead beautifully. In fact, in the next verse, after this entire question is asked, the next verse is spoken by Sutta Goswami, right? Because this verse is so important. So Sutta Goswami is narrating, Sutta Goswami is saying that, okay, this was a question asked by Parishit Maharaj. But then the next verse is Sutta Uvacha again. So the question is so important that, Sutta Goswami is now going to speak about that question and what is going to happen again, right? So something very, very important has been asked. And now the wonderful discussion will start, which will be very transformational for everyone who listens to it. Hare Krishna. That's what I wanted to cover. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anybody has any questions? We have some time, 5 minutes. Otherwise we can end. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hari. Do you want this girl?